Lost in the news yesterday was a minor statement. It seemed like a minor statement at the time, but as I thought about it overnight, it's not so minor. I'm pretty sure I don't have the exact quote, but it appears that Elon Musk is now in charge of sales. And the way that that happened is that I forget Wu, I think his name is. I'm sorry, that name I just can't pull it up right now, but I think that he has had a narrowing of his job requirements. He's more in charge of manufacturing now, and this left Elon Musk in charge of sales. And that should be a good thing because anything that Elon concentrates on, that becomes, a positive thing. We'll see what the impact of that is over the next weeks or months, with some people thinking that we could get to all-time highs, not on the stock price, but rather on the number of units sold as we go into the third quarter. So that would be very exciting. And certainly having Elon Musk in charge of it could be a big part of that. Overall, the markets are happy this morning with the jobs report. The equities are all up. Of course, unfortunately, when the jobs uh, numbers come in really, really good, that is going to cause the bond yields to go up. So that's sad, but we'll talk about all those things in a few minutes. There was a bunch of other economic reports today. I will cover them all in due course. There's actually a lot of very interesting news today. This is one of those ones I'd recommend you stay in there until the very end because there's a lot to cover today. Mario Nawfal says that Elon preps Grok for launch inside Tesla with custom personalities. Elon is gearing up to drop Grok inside Teslas, and it won't just be smart, it'll talk like you want it to. Firmware shows Grok will have fully customizable personalities and even kids modes that tell stories or run trivia. Elon already said you'll be able to talk to your car and ask for anything. It'll roll out on AMD-based vehicles only for now, only AMD-based vehicles for now. Grok's debut lines up with the robotaxi push. Tesla isn't adding AI, it's adding a voice. And of course, that's really the fun thing for me. And I think it'll sell cars. I really think it will sell cars. Tesla owners SV says this, breaking. Tesla says that the Cybercab will run on a new platform with 5.5 miles per kilowatt. That's one of the most efficient EV designs ever. And he says this is huge. Elon Musk responding, it is extremely optimized for lowest cost per mile of operation. As well, it should be, and more evidence of why Uber, Lyft, and Waymo are toast. Cern Basher says that robotaxi service area expansion is coming. And he is referring to some pictures and articles about the expansion. And this from Nick Cruz Patani. He said, which is NIC Cruz, CRUZ. Tesla's out in full force tonight, validating parts of downtown Austin. They're getting ready to expand. They have a fleet of vehicles running up and down the South Congress Bridge. So we should be looking forward to the expansion soon. That's exciting news. I think as we expand, and I keep on saying, what is the catalyst? What is the thing that will finally inspire the FOMO? Getting back to 365 would be a nice start. And then, of course, we need to break through that 365 in order to get close to another push to 400. And then, of course, to all-time highs. What will it take? What will we see that will get us there? Colin Rugg says this new poll finds that 40%, listen to this now, 40% of voters say they are likely to support Elon Musk's America Party if he decides to launch it, according to Qantas Insights. The poll comes as Musk has threatened to launch his own political party over recent disagreements with the Republican Party. He says it's time for a new party that actually cares about the people. Pretty amazing that with his low approval ratings, he's getting 40% saying they would follow him into a political party. And that's following him into a political party that basically at this point, I'll bet you that none of those 40%, not one of them, okay, maybe a few, have a clue as to what Elon Musk's new party would stand for. So we'll follow you anywhere. But wait a minute, wait a minute. What is it? What is it exactly that will be your party? What is your what are your platforms? Yeah, no, this is a little odd. It's just people showing their discouragement with regular party politics, especially on the Dem side, with the Dems coming. What was the last time I saw? They were in the 20s in terms of approval ratings. Tesla Chan says news that Tesla sold about 29 times. That's 29x more vehicles in South Korea in June than BYD. And BYD has got more specials coming out, more incentives coming out to sell cars. Is BYD in a death spiral or something? I actually don't think that's true yet, but they do seem to be having some problems. The top selling brand in Portugal right now is Tesla. Not the top selling EV brand. No, the top selling brand, period, is Tesla. Barron says this, the decline in the decline in deliveries was meaningfully better than feared, with investor expectations leading up to closer to 360,000, wrote Deutsche Bank's analyst Edison Yu in Wednesday's report. Looking at 2025, volume growth will still be a challenge, considering the EV policy headwinds and the delay in the Model Q. The Model Q, also referred to as the Model 2, the new lower-priced model that management has promised to investors, it was supposed to go on sale in the first half of 2025, and no one has seen it yet. Use rates the shares a buy at 345 price target. Tesla offered a new slew of incentives, including 0% or 1.99% financing on Model 3 and Model Y, respectively, wrote Wells Fargo analyst Colin Langan in a Wednesday report. He noticed that noting that the results still look weak overall. He rates Tesla stock a sell, continues to have a 120 price target for shares. His target is based mainly on his view that that's the value of the core automotive business. He doesn't give as much credit for new initiatives such as self-driving cars and robots. Even after the rollout in Austin, see, this is my point. This is what I keep saying over and over again. There is a massive number of people in the traditional investing world who, even after the Austin rollout, don't believe the robotaxi story. There's going to be a day when they are going to believe the robotaxi story, and that's when the FOMO will begin. And it's not just those investors, it's marginal investors who are sort of interested in Tesla, kind of want to get, be a part of the big explosion when it happens. And these are the people that I thought would come in just with the Austin rollout period, but which are still holding on to their powder because they're saying that there's a safety rider and remote drivers, et cetera, and a small area. They're waiting for more. They want to be sure. Robotaxi and Optimus robots are exciting, he says, but we need EVs to return to growth. So that's what he's looking for. He rates shares a buy. Whoops, I'm sorry. This is yet another analyst. This is Canaccord analyst George I can never say his name. Giannarikis. I don't think that's right. Giannarikas. Giannarikis. Anyway, he rates the stock a buy and has a 303 price target. So he has a 303 price target and he has it a buy, but the price is well over 303 at around 315 this morning. His target price is below where the stock is trading, and Giannarikis is waiting for Tesla's earning report on July 23rd to make adjustments. That seems to be a generally approved analysis right now, with Brian Wang last night saying that's what he's looking at. While deliveries were better than feared, the reality is that the second quarter, Tesla saw the largest year-over-year decline in deliveries in the company's history. He says, yes, Tesla is a bet. You need to bet on Tesla's self-driving and its energy storage and its robots, but EVs drive the profit and loss for now and for the foreseeable future. Well, not the foreseeable future, for the maybe two-quarter future. And we need to see growth in the core business to drive meaningful revisions. In other words, cars still matter to the stock. To be sure, the street wants to see new artificial intelligence-related businesses, but it also wants more EV sales. This is Yeah, fill in the blank. This is Randy Kirk. What do I want you to do? First, hit like. Okay, I'll wait. Now hit subscribe. I'll wait. I'm about at 300. I'm about 30,000. I haven't checked this morning, but I was really, really close to 30,000. Maybe you'll be the one that pushes me over the 30,000 number. That's not too bad for 2.5 years, right? To get to 30,000. I'd like to be 65 or 100. That would take a lot of you to start hitting the subscribe button. All right. And you can join Patreon too. That'd be lovely. Total non-farm payroll employment increased by 147,000 in June, completely beating the street's estimate of 110,000. And the unemployment rate, which changed little according to the reporting from the Labor Department, but it went down from 4.2 to 4.1. That is a change. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today expected increase to 4.3. So instead of going up to 4.3, it went down to 4.1. Job gains, however, were mostly in the state government and healthcare sectors. Federal government jobs continued to fall, but I would rather see these job increases in manufacturing and even services. But anyway, those were kind of flat. Average hourly earnings for all employees on private non-farm payrolls rose by 8 cents or 0.2%. This is like perfection. It's exactly where you want it to be. Over the past 12 months, the average was up by 3.7%, though that's too high, although coming down a little. The change in total non-farm payroll employment for April was revised up by 11,000, and the change in May was revised up by 5,000. This is much better than when they go down. The other thing is that all of this increase, not all, almost all of it, was in full-time jobs, as opposed to under Biden, when almost all of it was not full-time jobs. It was part-time jobs. I haven't seen the numbers yet, but since there's no new immigrants coming into the country, I'm going to guess that a lot of this increase was American citizens and not illegal immigrants. The United States trade deficit in goods and services increased by 18.7% in May compared to April, amounting to $71 billion, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The goods deficit grew by $11.2 billion. The services deficit added just $100 million. Exports fell by 4% on a monthly basis, with goods down by $11 billion. And services down a little bit also. Imports declined by 0.1% to $350 billion. So, you know what? Overall, what happened with this trade deficit is pretty much now back to just being a little bit better. In other words, a little bit less of a deficit than it was under Biden's last year. I didn't go back more than that, but just last year, it's a little bit better, not a ton better, just a little bit. But even though we're kind of back to those numbers and just a nice improvement, look at all the money that's pouring into the Treasury as a result of these tariffs. So overall, that should be a good thing. S&P Services report came in. Now listen, this is really, listen to these last three reports because it's kind of funny. S&P Services came in at 52.9, which is good, but it was not as good as the 53.2% expected or the 53.7 from last month. Technology was the best performing segment with the rate of output growth accelerating to its highest in just over 2 years. Production of consumer goods also gained momentum in June. Higher levels of output have now been recorded for 3 consecutive months, and the latest expansion was the strongest since April of 2022. Business activity in the financial sector expanded also. Industrials also registered an increase in output levels during June. All that was great, but there was lower levels of business activity in healthcare, which just saw the big increase in employment, consumer services, and basic materials. Okay, so although only marginal, the reduction in consumer services output was the first since January of 2024. Anyway, so overall, that report was down a little bit, but showing pretty good strength in certain sectors. Now you just turn the page a little bit. If you didn't like that report, you'd like to have a little better report. Well, let's go to the economic activity in the services sector grew in June after just 1 month of contraction, says the nation's purchasing and supply executives in the latest services ISM report on businesses. So the ISM report, much stronger than the S&P report, both of which are surveys. The services PMI indicated expansion at 50.8%, above the 50% break-even point for the 11th time in the last 12 months. The new orders index returned to expansion territory in June, recording a reading of 51.3%. And an increase of 4.9% in points from the May figure of 46.4. So new orders, great. Employment index went to contraction territory, however, even with a good jobs report. So, what do you got all these numbers that are not agreeing with each other? The prices index recorded 67.5%, a 1.2% point decrease. However, still showing that there are some issues with incoming prices. Finally, we have the manufacturing sector report. New orders for manufacturing goods in May, up 5 of the last 6 months, increased 48 billion or 8.2%. 8.2% in the U.S. Census Bureau reporting on June numbers. I think, no, this is May numbers, so not they're a month behind, of course. And this shipments up following, see, the April, so I'm sorry, let me do this again. This followed a 3.9% April decrease, shipments up following 2 consecutive monthly decreases. The follows a 0.3%. Anyway, unfilled orders up 10 of the last 11 months. Shipments up, new orders up. This is very, very good news. So the VIX says, hey, all of this sounds good. So the VIX is at 16 today. We'll see if the VIX now will settle down and keep on going down. Maybe we'll see the VIX maybe even lower, 16.47 right now. Got Truflation banging down to 1.98 after being up around 2.2 yesterday. So 1.98 on Truflation. And Trump is sitting at an even 50% today. Down from his high of 53, but still not too bad. We'll see what happens if the big, beautiful bill passes, whether that gives him a bump. All right. Tesla is almost back into the green, has been in the green. Looks like it is, yeah, trying. It's down 19 cents right now, or that would be 0.01%. You could call it breaking even right now. The Dow is up 0.83%. Almost a full percent. The NASDAQ up 0.91, almost a full percent. The S&P up 0.77. That's 6.275. The 7,000 that people think is possible by the end of this year, certainly seeming to develop. We've got the Magnificent Seven up, except for Google. And as I mentioned, Tesla barely down and Google down 0.06%. Everything else is up, with NVIDIA up 1.7 at almost 160. The Cathie Woods are mostly up, even in the face of increasing bond yields. So all are up except for TDOC and Block. Okay, let's go ahead and look at what happened with those bonds. I'm so sad that the yields are going up. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing here. Let me do that again. All right, now we've got it. Let's go over, get rid of that, and take a look at bonds up 4.3 basis points at 4.336. We have got oil retreating this morning, back down 82 cents, back to 66.63. Brent only $2 higher. Natural gas down a little bit, 1.15% at $3.45. Again, right in the middle of its range. Gold dropping a little bit, 21.50 after being up strongly yesterday, 33.38. Now, what was that number we laughed about a week ago? 33.33. So not much change over the week. Silver sitting at 36.95, continuing to make a run at that 38. It's up 0.62%. Copper staying well over $5 at $5.11. As I mentioned yesterday, for those of you who were here, copper is well into all-time highs and continuing to be there. The dollar is mixed. Bitcoin up 373. Bitcoin making also a run for all-time high, sitting at 109.9 this morning. And those are the numbers. So what do we got later today? We have definitely got Bradford Ferguson as per the usual, and definitely have Cern Basher. So I've got such a lineup for you. Yes, we will be reporting all day on 4th of July. Yes, we'll be reporting all day on Saturday and Sunday. And I have got so much content. Amazing. This is maybe going to be the best weekend ever for this channel. We're trying to get this July off to a great start. I can promise you, you should not miss a single version, a single day, a single, or any one of the three on any given day. We'll have, I think we'll probably have some Phil Beisel. I'm not sure. Brian Wong, almost 100% sure. Some more Brian White, some more Cern Basher over the weekend. I mean, yeah, it's going to be chock full. And we're going to be talking a lot about robotaxi, 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 robotaxi. You'll be so sick of robotaxi, but it's going to make you a fortune. You need to know. All right. So last night, what happened last night? Well, see, it was Wednesday. No, is that today's Thursday, right? Yes, today was, yeah. So Brian Wong and I had a great show, amazing show, as always with Brian Wong. It already had very, very big numbers, but you may want to go back and check that out. And then, there was actually it was a double header. So the second half of the Brian Wong show didn't get as big in numbers. You know what? I'm going to only put that card up because you didn't watch it yet. But you should have. It's about robotaxi. Believe me, you want to follow the whole robotaxi story. And what Brian Wong and I were talking about last night was the $4.20 idea, which was brought up by connecting the dots. I think connecting the dots is right, or at least right in concept, to go into a zone approach, completely different than the other ride-hail services, which I think would which would create that difference, that difference that you would remember, and that would be important in terms of which app you pick, which app you punch when you open your phone. So one last look just before we go at Tesla, still sitting under, but man, just barely under in the red. Okay, so that's all we got for you right now, and we will be right back at you 2 more times today. It's been great talking to you.